last week we started the process of dropping our keel. And we left out probably too many details in that video. For one, we weren't exactly 100% sure exactly which route we were gonna go because there's so many different variables, but also just because this is a very big project and it's been stretched out over multiple months over this entire rebuild. And so we probably omitted a few details, like taking off the keel nuts, which to us seems super obvious, but I guess if we didn't show it, it didn't happen. So we're gonna do better, and we're gonna do better trying to explain all the different details and all the different steps that are involved with this process. We've always known that we've had grounding damage on this boat ever since we bought it. That was one of the first major repairs that we did back in Fort Pierce more than 10 years ago. The previous owners or somebody hit something pretty hard, enough to delaminate the keel joint and do some damage to the stub and delaminate all of the original floors and damage the back of the keel. Like, they hit something really hard. And so one of our first glass jobs we ever did was repairing all of that damage from the inside, a little bit of that damage from the outside, and doing our best to fix the keel joint. Even though it was mostly cosmetic, we knew we were gonna eventually have to drop the keel and inspect it, but the bolts looked okay, the joint never got bigger, so we kind of kept sailing with an eye on it, making sure it never got worse, but it was always a little bit sketchy, and we always had that unknown sort of anxiety in the back of our minds about our keel joint. So now that we are redoing the entire rest of our boat, it's just time to redo our keel as well, just so that we know it's good and we know it's not going to come off anytime soon.
Fall off! Meh.
Over the past 10 years, we've talked to many experts about it. A lot of people just say don't bother, it's not worth it on an old boat, blah, blah, blah. But if you don't know, the keel is really actually the most important part of a sailboat, because if you lose it, the boat sinks really, really fast. So it's very important to make sure it doesn't fall off. You can lose pretty much any other part of a sailboat and you'll be fine. Keel, not so much. So we have been gathering information and gathering ideas and talking to as many experts as we could find to come up with a plan. Our main concern with our keel actually isn't the bolts themselves. They are bronze J-bolts melted directly into our lead keel. So of all the things Pearson did, that's probably the most correct one. It's the best way of having a bolt-on keel that we know of. The bronze bolts are pretty durable, they don't corrode, and a lead keel has no corrosion issues either. So the bolts, aside from the two that got damaged in the grounding and one on the back that we're gonna need to cut off because it's just completely inaccessible and we have no idea how they put it on in the first place. Aside from those 3 bolts, the rest of them look like they're in pretty good shape. However, the bolts aren't our main concern. Our main concern is actually the thickness of the glass around the keel stub. It is very thin, in some places probably only 1/4 of an inch. In most places it's probably 10 to 11 millimeters, so just under half an inch, which to us just seems outrageously thin for the thing that needs to be the strongest on the entire boat. So that's why we spent so much time last week glassing in another inch and a half of glass down into the bottom of the bilge and the keel stub, and then about another 10 millimeters of glass on the inside, on the sides, which is where it was the thinnest. And then on the outside, we're gonna be glassing in a bunch more as well, but that'll come later. So the actual keel stub is gonna be super, super strong so that our bolts will be able to hold it in really, really well. There's 3 sort of main options that we could go with to fix our keel. The first one being encapsulating the whole keel in fiberglass. Some boats are built this way, and that's the best way of doing it, where they just build the hull in the shape of the keel and then they add the ballast to the hole and seal it off. Encapsulating a bolt-on keel after the boat is built is pretty sketchy because there's always a chance that if those bolts fail, it will delaminate all the glass around it. I've had some experts and boat builders suggest we wrap uni, kind of stitching the keel on and then glass over it. It would definitely work, but it leaves some pretty big question marks in the whole system and a level of anxiety that we were uncomfortable with. So we knew we wanted to keep it bolted on. So the options were either replacing all of our existing bolts or sistering new bolts in beside our old bolts. Since our original bolts are bronze and they're J bolts and they're melted right into the keel, that is really the optimal setup, and the position of those bolts is directly connected to the main floors in the boat, which is the main structure holding the keel onto the boat. So we didn't really want to replace those if they were in good condition, because they're in the best position and they've been working for 50 years already. So what we ended up deciding to do was sistering new bolts in beside the old bolts, which is why we added so much glass and G10 backing plates into the bilge to build up the structure where there wasn't any, so that when we put the new bolts in, there's something for them to torque up against and combine all the new strength from the new bolts in with the old bolts to make just an outrageously strong system. And since this whole process is mostly just manual labor, we've decided to do most of it ourselves because we can save the most amount of money. We've gotten quotes from about $5,000 to $50,000 to do this project over the years. So we're gonna be doing most of the labor, but where the special skill set, knowledge, and tools need to be acquired are for drilling in the new keel bolts and tapping them into the lead and installing those. So we have been in contact with a guy named Mike for the past 8 or 9 years about this project. He has a very custom built drill for doing exactly this, and he's been doing it for many years on many boats. So we're flying him in to help us with this project, which is going to be nice to have a third set of hands because this is a massive project. So Mike packed up all of his tools, took a flight to Rome, put them in a rental van, and boarded this overnight ferry to Olbia. So he'll be at the yard in about 45 minutes to an hour, which means we need to get packed up, meet him there, and we're gonna get this project started.
All right, show and tell. What do we have here, Mike?
What we have here is...
First of all, a gun case.
That's right. It's a violin case, which goes over real well here in Italy. It is a case with a really special tap for tapping lead. So this allows me to take lead and drill into it and then push the tap in and form it into the shape that I need for these studs. That's what's going to hold your keel on, along with a really nice batch of epoxy.
Here's my show and tell. You ready? This is the size nut that came off of the keel bolt that's currently in our boat. And we have 12 of those. It's 5/8 inch bronze rod. This is the size nut that we're putting in. 1 inch stainless steel. It's a little bit bigger. And we're putting in 10 of these?
11.
11? So we're gonna have 22, because we cut that one off in the back. 22 keel bolts, which is like overkill, for sure. We could get by with 6, but anything, what's the saying? Anything worth doing is worth doing right? Or overdoing. Anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
Go big or go home.
That too.
Yes.
This is the American way. Like, you could almost put this one inside that one. So they're a little big. So I think they're gonna be a little strong.
This is sailboat hot rodding.
Yeah, there you go. We want the keel to not fall off our boat, ever.
That's right.
That's the goal.
So, you ever see Armageddon with Bruce Willis? This is part of the drilling rig.
All right, get ready, Max. Thread it. Let's drill through this turd.
They still make that? How old is
That's
that
right.
Milwaukee?
Look at that. That's an ancient Milwaukee. This is the power head for the drill, so that we can put these keel bolts in the keel. Here's the power tapping head. This is what that big tap uses. And you put it onto that drill.
So it's
motor.
even slower? Is this
Goes slow.
reduction gear that goes even slower than the drill bit?
Well, the nice thing about this is when I push it down, it screws down.
Right.
And when I pull up, it changes this. It goes reverse and backs it out.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see this whole contraption put together.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised they let you on the airplane with all this stuff.
Me too.
That's a cute little
Nice
drill bit.
sized drill bits.
These are insane. When you said 1 inch, I was like, yeah, sure, cool, but that's comical. How big of a boat should this go on? Usually.
a 1-inch stud like that? 50 foot?
Uh,
I mean, I guess it depends on how many.
To be honest with you, I mean, I've seen 1.25 inch bolts on 50 footers, but mostly what I've seen is 1 inch.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it doesn't really cost any more to do this size than it does to that size. Not really.
The Islander 36 uses 1 inch. It always has. And
Yeah, these look awfully comically small now in comparison to this.
yeah, you're gonna sleep better at night. I know that.
Oh, for sure. We're basically building a giant drill press into
right.
the boat, right?
That's right.
Cool. I'm excited to get started on that. So before we can do anything, we need to brace the keel so it doesn't fall over. That's important. I think we're gonna use plywood and build sort of like a kickstand for the keel, because all the weight of the keel is sitting on the ground. But if we lift the boat up now, it will fall over. So we're just gonna kind of brace it on the side just to make sure it stays vertical. We're gonna like glue some cardboard together like we do. Hey, Kika.
Yeah.
Mike needs data on his phone
Okay.
while he's here. And didn't you use like a eSIM app while you're in Switzerland recently? What was it called?
Right, Sally.
Do they ever sponsor videos?
They do.
They should have sponsored this one.
They did.
Do they really?
Yeah. So
How convenient.
it's quite fitting.
Want to tell me about it? Because I've used eSIMs before and they never work.
No, yeah, so we use an app called, you actually used it. I don't know if you, because I put it on your phone when you went on the
used it.
Patreon trip.
Oh,
And the BVIs.
that's why my phone worked when I got there.
An app that we use is called Sally. It's basically an eSIM platform, which is a digital SIM card, so you don't have to swap to a local physical SIM card every time you travel, and you also have to worry about getting roaming fees from your local plans from back home.
eSIMs are super convenient. We've used them quite a few times, but the problem is normally it's like this weird like QR code thing you have to download on one device and take a picture of it on another device, and then there's so many of them that like most of the time they just never end up working.
Sally is really cool because it's an app, and you download the app, you create your account, and then you can literally select any country that you're planning on traveling to or that you are in. In this case, Mike would select Italy. And then from there, you create your eSIM, and then you add however amount of gigs that you want into your plan for a certain amount of days. And the cool thing about this too is that once you're getting low, if you want to top up, you don't have to change eSIMs every time. Or even if you're changing country, you don't have to change eSIM. You always stay connected. There's no stress, and there's no physical swapping or anything like that.
So if we put Sally on Mike's phone and activate him an account, does he get a discount? Do we get like a discount code?
Yeah, so because Sally is a sponsor of this video, we get 15% off for anybody that wants to try it. We'll leave the link in the description below. It is, I have to look it up. The code is Sailing Uma.
Good thing I had to look that up. That's a really hard one to remember.
Just make sure. Make
That's
sure
an easy
you go
one.
to sally.com/sailinguma and you can get 15%. And so we'll make sure that Mike can get 15% as well.
Nice.
Well, thank you, Sally, for being the sponsor of this week's video and also for being part of our travel journey.
And for letting me use my phone in the BVIs without even knowing it, because she put that app on my phone.
We just finished the first part of our Keel project, and tomorrow is a big day. So yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, congratulations! You downloaded Sally.
Wow, I feel so sailing now.
What's going on in here?
Cooking breakfast. It's Sunday, so we gotta have a good breakfast on Sundays.
Right.
We got the hood fan running, so we don't smoke ourselves out of the container.
And Mike offered us to cook some good eggs this morning.
Breakfast tacos.
Breakfast, because I love it. In our lovely container home.
Yeah. Well, today it's a galley. It's a kitchen.
Oh, I noticed you had a blender here. Where's the attachment? This is really heavy duty.
This one.
Do a lot of cooking.
There's our blender attachment.
Oh, here we go.
Use that for the eggs. Thanks for breakfast, Mike.
Thanks for breakfast,
Hey,
Mike.
no problem.
All right. Breakfast is over. That was absolutely delicious. It's time to get to work. Well, our bench is done.
Comfy place to hang out in the shade, you know, enjoy the breeze. No, so we braced off the keel and we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of vertical braces, and it's all secured sideways as well, so it's not going to wobble back and forth. All the weight of the keel is sitting on the ground. This is mostly just to make sure that it doesn't want to tip over at all. So it's not like this is holding 5,000 pounds. It's just keeping it from tipping over. Hopefully now when we cut this off and start lifting it, it will stay still and the boat will move. We have a lot of work to do before that happens, including drilling all the new holes, and then we have to grind out our old keel joint. So yeah, we're gonna get started on that. So let's go inside. We got all the tools up here. We need to assemble this thing.
Yep.
What is this thing that we're assembling?
This thing.
Can you?
It's a big drill press.
Can I give it a run? So this is a giant drill from 1840
40 something.
And it's gonna go somewhere here. So we need to build like a big column drill press mast and support it, and then attach this to it, and then start drilling holes in the keel. Start small and work your way big, and then tap them, and then put the giant 1-inch mega keel bolts in after.
That's right. Go big or go home, ball.
That's the thing. Can you hold something?
The cord, we need to keep it kind of out of the way. And then, you know what? I'm going to work on it over here.
It looks like it's from the 60s. This is just hilarious.
That is
This is for D's nuts.
That is so ratchet.
that's a 3-to-1 ratchet compounder.
Oh, so it goes like that, and you
So
can go
you put 100 pounds of torque in the top, you get 300 out the bottom.
and then this is just to keep it from spinning.
Right.
So you push it up against the side of the bilge or whatever.
Yeah, we'll put a piece of wood up against.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what has to fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Our poor bilge.
Your build is going to be so tough up and down.
Oh yeah, we got space.
Yeah.
For one, like.
We'll make it happen, dude.
Actually, that's kind of perfect in a way, because then we'll have, like, the flat spot behind it is where we'll run the. We're gonna run because this is gonna be super dry most of the time, but we're gonna run like a maintenance pump down there where the pump is outside, like one of those whale gulper pumps that'll just keep it nice and dry. And then somewhere up higher, we'll run like one of those massive, like 3,000 gallon per second pumps. So if the boat's ever up to here, that pump kicks on, but it'll be like under here somewhere or something.
You're gonna have your cones for like poking into holes and through holes or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we're not gonna have any through holes in the salon, right? So this bilge is gonna be super dry. It's only gonna get flooded if we get rolled and water comes in through anyway, or like a hatch gets blown out, or like I don't know, something crazy. But like
Smack something and it puts a hole in the
yeah. So in the cockpit locker is gonna be all the intakes and outlets for almost all of the water.
Gotcha.
And then above the water for the sink and the shower and the washing machine are going to be above the water, but they're going to be seacocks. And then the head's going to be in front of that water-type bulkhead. So like in this area, there's going to be nothing that can leak. We originally thought about reaming out, like taking out the old keel bolts and replacing them with new ones. Because the old keel bolts, especially these middle 6, are directly connected to like the cross bracing, the floors. But they're so close to the edge that we wouldn't be able to like replace them with such a big bolt and put these nuts on there. So we're gonna keep those ones because they're fine and add these where we can. But we've beefed up the rest of the bilge as we've seen in the last video. So that'll distribute all that load across the whole thing. That's the plan.
Let me swing over.
Cool.
It'll in some cases it'll just head for the floor if you're not holding on to the handle.
Oh.
Doesn't have like a brake.
Oh, that's so cool. It's
It
like
does have a brake.
train.
Okay.
Right there.
Gotcha. What do you think about that for those front 4 instead of 2? Or do you think you can get a drill bit into that one on the upper right corner?
Well, we can set something up and see if I can get one in there. The one I do may wind up being a little bit more towards
Because
the
that's
middle.
yeah, that's the thing. But I guess it would probably be fine to do that, and then just make a
Well, these 2 in the back I don't have a problem with.
yeah,
Those I could do there. Yeah.
because that'll be directly connected to this even more so.
So the idea is let's try to do the hard one first.
This one.
Yeah. So if you'll take this piece of wood under here.
I think these 2 back here are going to be doing more work than these ones are. Because like the mast is going to be pushing down here and it's going to want to take that load to this floor.
Right.
Like,
But see, here's
these
one.
almost don't even need to be here, I feel like. If we just do 2 there and then just keep these 2 bolts are just holding on that little corner of lead on the front. Like these 2, those 2 are taking all of the load.
Yeah, that's
keep
another thing
transferring
too.
it. So,
We need to go out there and measure how deep the keel is right there in that spot. So your second
Yeah.
mark back, I would go back about 4 inches and then see how deep the keel is right there.
We're getting ready to drill the first holes, pilot holes at least, and then drill bigger and bigger. So generally speaking, so these black lines mark where our current keel bolts are, and this one's almost not doing anything. And then these 2 are the ones on either side of our mast step, and they're singles, so they're in the middle because our keel's kind of like a V shape up here. So like drilling something on the side, we can't go very deep without it kind of popping out the side somewhere. So we're trying to figure out how far out we can put these, because the further out the better, because you get more leverage. But if we drill too far out, then it's going to come out the bottom of the keel, which is like not the end of the world. We can fill it full of epoxy, but it's just kind of inconvenient. So we're trying to figure out where this is going to go in so it doesn't come out the bottom. It kind of looks like it needs to just go in the middle. Like that's vertical. And right now we're putting it 5 centimeters in, which is there. So it would come out here right now. Actually, it would come out a bit higher. So I don't think we can put 2 bolts there. I think we might only be able to put 1 in the middle. But there's not a whole lot of weight up here. That's the thing. Like these 3 bolts are only holding this tiny little bit of lead. They're also sort of the first line of defense. If we hit anything, this gets pulled down. But this bolt here is the aft one from our keel step, which means somewhere right about here is the first floor that goes up to transfer all that load up and through from the mast and the keel going back and forth. So putting 1 bolt here is still pretty solid. And then the further back we go, it doesn't become an issue because like back here, the keel's basically parallel or perpendicular to the ground. So if we're putting them back here, there's no way to get them to come out the other side. So I think we're only going to be able to put one in there. Even though the keel's really wide, it just tapers so much that these would definitely just poke right out the side of it.
Got your feelers out there.
It would help if these keel bolts were in the center. They're not even in the center. Look at this. That's like, we'll say 10 centimeters to the side of the drill bit.
It's like 12 on the other side. Yeah.
It's 11 on that side. So should we
The question is, do we center it or should we keep
actually
it?
center it? I think we should move it over another like quarter of an inch.
Man, look at Dan go.
That's better.
Technically work. Let me break it down. This is just to kind of like hold it in place to set everything else up.
Yeah. And basically, we get it snug, and then what we'll do is we'll tap everything into location
Yeah.
and then tighten it.
Yeah, cool. All right.
So we're set for the first one?
Close. I mean, it's, you know.
We now have to install the tooling.
Oh, yeah. You need to get the drill bit.
There's a hole in there just for that.
Oh, that's good.
Cool.
It's a cool drill.
Move those out of the way.
It's a hell of a torture device.
Mm-hmm.
Fire in the hole.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Gonna make noise. Time for a bit change.
We didn't drill through the bottom of the keel.
Let's see what it looks like in there. Hello.
Oh yeah. Oh, you can see the bottom.
Yeah.
Hello. There's no daylight. Hey.
All right, so 4 drill bits have gone down, a tap has gone down, and the bolt hole is theoretically ready. So we're gonna send a threaded rod down and a sort of a first keel bolt and make sure it fits.
I thought we were gonna send Kika down to clean up the hole.
Kika ain't that small.
Oh.
So you know, a little scrub brush. Not that small.
Here goes nothing.
It's starting to kind of seal on it with the oil, and so it gets a little harder to push down in there. But yeah, that's pretty much what it looks like.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Them must be a big keel bolts.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we just finished drilling the first keel hole in our boat. Mike just started with the second one, and we have, I think, 7 more to go. So in the meantime, Dan and I are going to start working on the outside of the hull.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're letting Mike stay in the air conditioning. We're gonna do all the hard work out here. No, we have to grind out the bedding compound between the lead keel and the fiberglass keel stub. It's only maybe a few millimeters thick, but it's like basically a glue that holds it all together. The bolts help, but that bedding compound would probably keep the keel on even if all the bolts weren't there. So we've got all the tools, and we're gonna start slowly grinding and surgically removing as much of that as we can. We marked out where the original keel bolts are so we don't touch up against those and damage them. So yeah, it's gonna be kind of a long, tedious process, but it's not really like super physical labor. However, the thing we're gonna start with first is putting this on here because we need to start cutting our keel off. This back section is all fiberglass, and we need to cut through that until we get to the lead so that it's like a clean separation. So, and then we'll glass it all back together after. The back edge is just for fairing filler, basically, just fairing the water off the back. So yeah, cut our keel off.
Got the hull in the process. Easy.
Put a port light in right there. So we've got a bit of a friendly wager going on because Mike seems to think it's going to be a pain in the ass to take our keel off, but knowing how the rest of the boat came apart, I feel like once we cut through here and put a little bit of pressure on the jack stands, the boat's just gonna lift right off. My guess is like none of that it's holding anything together anymore. We'll see. We will see. So now we're just gonna go around and like just rotate each of these like a quarter turn a couple of times just to take most of the weight off of the keel and just to make sure that the boat's not compressing on the keel, because then like the more of that bedding compound we grind out, the more it's gonna squish it closed, and we kind of want it to stay open. So we're not really like lifting the boat yet. We're just trying to like take the boat weight off of the keel, if that makes any sense. Quarter. It's working because every time I make it to this one, it's basically loose. All right, let's see. So we only had to go around 3 times, so we only had to turn them 3/4 each. And now all of our wedges underneath the boat are loose. So the keel is technically hanging, even though it's only hanging by a millimeter, which is actually really cool if you think about it, because it means that like our boat's so stiff that we only had to rotate those 3/4 of a turn each and the whole boat lifted. It didn't like sag the keel back down again. So that's a lot different than last time we had to do this. Cool, well.
Now we grind.
Fall off. Nah. We're gonna start with, this is one of those like grout removal bits for the vibrating saw, but it worked really well on a couple of other projects we've tried it with, and it hasn't like gotten dull yet. So I think we're gonna start with this and just go around the perimeter and just try to like take out as much as we can. The trick is to surgically remove the bedding compound and not cut into the glass too much and damage it, and not grind into the lead too much and damage it. So yeah, it's gonna be fiddly, but we'll get it done. Let's rinse this out. That worked out. So we've been using this blade because it's the longest one we have, but it has a really fine tooth count, and the lead and fiberglass and stuff was bogging it up and getting hot. So we put like this massive.
Well, you have to say all the other experiment that we did before.
Well, and we've tried with the handsaw, and we've tried with the hacksaw and everything else to try to like, you know, because it's a bit delicate to try to get right between the lead and the fiberglass. But then we put this monster tooth on here, and it's not really like cutting the lead, and it's not really cutting the fiberglass. It's just like chiseling out all of the bedding compound between. So it actually worked pretty effectively. So we've made it from the back of the keel to the most aft keel bolt now. And now we have to figure out a way to kind of grind through the keel stub and then insert this again on the other side. The problem is this blade's not long enough to go all the way through the keel, so it works, but it's gonna be tricky. We might have to go like in one side and then switch and go the other side and kind of like go up on a V or something like that.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
So would you say that it's a little bit more complicated than we've initiated?
Yeah, I'd say it's a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit more time consuming than we thought it was going to be. I wish we had this blade, but this long. That's what I wish. And also this blade's way thicker, so it doesn't like bend as easily. This one, like, if you miss just by a little bit, it just bends it right up. But this blade's like double the thickness, so it's very like stiff.
Yeah. And the water helps too.
Yeah, we also started putting the water hose on it because we have a leak in it, so it just dribbles just perfectly. And keeping the blade cool and lubricated and wet, and also keeping all the dust down is really nice, so we don't have to like have fiberglass dust and lead dust going everywhere. It just turns into a paste. So yeah, we'll keep going. Well, Mike is tapping the last bolt, so we've got all 8 done. And the keel is mostly separated, but it hasn't actually come off yet. And so once he's done with that, we'll try to get the keel off.
Tap all 8 of them.
Yeah. Well, and that's nice. Hopefully the keel comes off.
Hopefully, that's the
Well, I'm not
hope.
putting the bolts in until the keel does come off.
I agree.
You know, there we go. It's gonna have to come off. Still got to get this tap out because it's kind of stuck now.
Of course, the last one is the one that gives us the issues.
Well, you guys missed the other ones.
That's true.
Yeah, I've had to do this a lot.
Oh man.
Yeah. Ready?
Ready.
Look at that. He's out.
That's it. We did it.
Yep.
We did it. Good job, Mike.
Hey, I give credit where credit's due. You guys helped. You fed me and you made sure I had some sleep.
Well, you know, and made sure you got here.
Oh, that's good. That was something.
I guess we'll see if the keel comes off now. See if the rest of our work paid off. I mean, we've ground like 90% of the keel, but we didn't want it to separate fully before he was done drilling the new bolt. So, yeah, now we're gonna finish kind of trying to cut the keel off, and hopefully it separates without any drama or damage or issues or falling over
It's gonna do
or
fine.
flipping the boat. But that's not good for YouTube, Mike. You got to be like, I don't know. It might not come off. I've never done this before. I guess we'll see. Then it's better for the drama. You got to give them the drama.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. You can't just be like, I've done this 40 times. It'll be easy. You can't say that. Then they're not going to watch.
It's never easy.
Yeah, there you go.
Hopefully.
So
that
are we
thing will-
disassembling your giant drill now? Are we done with it? Or is there a reason to keep it up in case we need to like retap something? Or are they good?
It's good, man.
Yeah, so we can...
We done.
There's no going back. That's
Alright.
it.
We done, man.
Nice. Much all the way.
Guys, this is it. This is the moment that we've been working so hard for the last couple of weeks. Well, the last 10 years, really. Today, we are officially separating our keel from our boat.
Well, we've ground out and we can see daylight through every section that has a check mark. These black ones are where our original keel bolts are. The gray ones are where the new keel bolts are gonna be. And we've put a little bit of pressure on all of our jack stands. We have about double the amount of jack stands we need to hold the boat up. Because when we first brought the boat in here, it had no bulkheads. So we've repositioned all of them so they're on main bulkheads or ribs. And now the hope is that we're just gonna go around and give each one like a quarter turn a couple of times to bring a little bit of weight off the keel, and hopefully the boat just levitates right off of it. Highly doubt it's gonna be that easy, but
We'll see. My guess is that we're gonna have a lot more like surgical sawzalling to do. Sawzalling, that's a verb now. Yeah, hopefully it comes apart as easy as the rest of the boat came apart. But I guess we'll have to find out. So we've got 12 jack stands on the boat, and if we're not lifting up the keel, which we shouldn't be, then each one of these is only pulling up by about 500 pounds. So they're actually not that hard to twist, little tiny bits at a time. Let me see if this back one's loose now. We don't need to go up anymore. The keel's floating.
Okay.
Everything, every one of these wedges is loose by a couple of millimeters, so there's no point. There's no point putting more on it until that comes loose.
Right.
Grind a little more.
Do you have a pry bar?
Shake the keel. So, a bit anticlimactic. Nothing happened.
Yet.
The keel is still attached to the boat. So, just need to bang it harder.
Well, we're cutting through glue now that hasn't had a chance to oxidize or anything because you've already cut the old oxidized stuff off around it. Yeah, I just met that keel bolt. Huh.
There's this last resort.
Yeah. So the old bolts aren't giving up. That's because they've got, an inch of old glass and then the inch and a half. So somewhere around 50 millimeters total of what we added, and probably a bunch of resin and stuff around the actual threads of the old bolts. And they're not giving up. So I'm going to put together like an extended hole saw so we can try to get down around the old bolts and hopefully break up some of that resin that's holding them in there without damaging the threads. That's the key. So I'm just gonna I just cut a hole saw in half, and I'm gonna do like a pretty shit job, but I'm gonna try to weld that on like that so that we can get it down and around the old studs.
How do you feel so far about all the stuff you've been trying?
We knew it was gonna be a lot of work, but man, it's a lot of work.
Are you still hopeful?
Yeah, we'll get it off eventually. I don't have a doubt about that. It just might take longer than we originally thought. Hopefully it's straight. Looks pretty straight. So the idea is that we're going to be able to like slide this down over top of our old bolts and be able to like take out some of the resin and junk that's around them without actually damaging the bolts. And that's the plan. I need to smooth out the inside of that weld though.
One last trick up the, what do you say it?
One last resort? Something like that. All right, well, this is the theory.
actually pretty straight.
This has a bit of a bend to it, but down here is actually pretty straight, which is kind of the important part. Yeah, it's not bad actually.
Oh, there it is. There it goes. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.